Heart bounced with joy when he brought one's claws to the floor and pressed it into the rock, spewing magic sparks around his finger. Then he started drawing lines. They lingered as luminous carvings through the solid mass of marble and bricks. I was truly focused on it, puffing his cigarette smoke around him as the lines connected in letters formed into words. I had never had a lesson like that before, and I could barely contain my excitement. I was about to learn magic from someone who wasn't a canine. Do you know what mana is yet? Yes, I do. It's what keeps us alive, like blood, but in the spirit. Yes, that's a good way to put it. A blood for your spirit and for the world. It also fuels our magic. Do you know why? Do you know what mana is made of exactly? Oh, I know that too. It's memories. No, not memories. No? No, that's a very common misconception. But there's a very important difference between memory and experience. You don't get to remember most of the sensations and thoughts that make up your mana pool, so the power doesn't come from creating memories, right? That power comes from the very act of experiencing life. The world is a chaotic mass of uncertainty, but even our mere act of observation holds the power to define it. By our presence alone, we bring order to chaos. It sounds like just semantics. There's no real difference between the two, is there? Oh, but there is. A very tangible distinction. You'll see that more clearly as we go higher up the pyramid. As you tap deeper into the world-defining energy of the mana or burn it, you gain control over abilities associated with specific mana types. There are 6 of them, one for each race, one for each motherland. Those 6 basic racial abilities are very stable and flexible. A native user of each mana type can usually achieve greater feats with it than someone who just uses those powers from outside sources. You, as a canine, can read emotions, and eventually you'll be able to connect and pack mentality with other dogs. I can use empathy, but I can't really initiate pack mentality. It was a great feat for me to even join my canine friend in it, and that was because he was the one who howled to me. I, as a rodent, have free access to my holding seal, and as you can see, I can also manipulate inanimate matter to some degree. I doubt you'll be able to do this much even if you study our mana. I'm so jealous. Your power is much cooler. I wish I could trade with you. You would, huh? Yeah, I could see all of my important things safe and hidden. Nobody could take my book away from me ever again. It is pretty useful, huh? An unbreakable hiding spot like that. But let me tell you, it is as much a blessing as it is a curse to us rodents. There is, believe it or not, one very sure and easy way to take over someone's belongings from their holding seal. A skeleton key, if you will. You just have to kill the owner. Oh, yes, whenever a person dies, everything they held in their seal rematerializes in a close vicinity within a day or two after death, usually not further than a few dozen meters around the body, deep in the ground. There are some exceptions to that, like when an item has a strong connection to a specific place or person, but that's the realm of enchanted gear. Almost all the time, the victim's wealth rematerializes close to the body. We rodents are not physically strong, and even our magic isn't inherently offensive. We depend fully on our tools and preparations to keep us safe, but we're bad in direct confrontation. Because of that, bandits love us. We're like walking treasure chests to them. And since you can never tell what kind of true wealth a rodent may be hiding, and bandits don't like the idea of missing a jackpot, well, You okay? You look pale. No, no. Yes, I'm okay. Sorry, kid. Didn't mean to scare you. Just telling you how it is. It sucks to be a rodent in these lands. One of the reasons we're moving abroad again. But you won't die. You're strong. I mean it. You're very cool and fast. You can kick any bandit's tail. And I can help you. You wouldn't need to worry about anything with me by your side. I'll have your back. Ha, my side or back, then. Which one is it? Both and more. I'll cover all of your blind spots if you teach me how. Interesting. And what happened to that special wolf promise that we wouldn't see each other after we leave the city? Do you plan to go back on your promise to set me free too? No, of course not, but how do you expect me to trust you with my safety if I can't even count on you to keep a promise? I apologize. He sighed. Look, I like your enthusiasm, kid. You still have some growing up to do, and I can see you're still not rotten to the core just yet. I wagged my tail at that. But you have to understand, a promise is sacred to a man. It is more binding than your canine unity or any spell you can conjure. If you break a magic spell, you deal with the consequences of its magic. Often severe, yes, but that's all there is to it, at least with a clear punishment forced to the hand. However, when you give your word, there is no such force stopping you from bending, breaking, or even forgetting the oath. You have complete freedom to do anything you want with it. That lack of material or magical restraint is exactly what makes a promise the most powerful binding ritual in the whole world. If you break a magic seal, you pay with blood. But if you break your word, you pay with your honor. And that, little wolf, is the single hardest thing to recover in a man's life. I won't go back on my word ever again. Heh, sure. I won't, I promise. You'll see. He chuckled, staring down at the luminous drawing at the end of his claw. The corners of his mouth curled up. Even the whiskers on his cheeks rose slightly. I chose to take it as a sign of approval. So, magic. Yes, what's next? What's the third step? He said that racial abilities are the most stable form of magic, so there must be something more complex. Indeed, as each mana type contains magic of different quality, you can actually... Oh, I know. It's the thing you just did here. The enchantment of the room. Yes. Well done, Orange. Shelter. I knew it. That's from the next step. I apologized to him for interruption and asked him to continue. Each mana contains magic of different quality. When you burn it harder, you can access, separate, and enhance its specific conceptual components to weave them together into different effects. Rolled-up mana is associated with the material aspects of the world, the element of earth, concepts of eternity, stillness, containment, the sense of healing. And the color green, yep, among a bunch of other things. Canine is a mana of the moon, unity, the night and darkness, the sense of smell. And red, Sullies are cold water, vitality, the soul, the sense of intuition, and they are blue. Orange is feline, and embodies chaos, destruction, independence, the light of the sun, and the sense of taste. Avian, the yellow, is a color of freedom, movement, release, the elements of wind and space, and a sense of sight. It can be used for some interesting eye enchantments. Lastly, you have the ungulates, the purple mana of the body, the might, the elements of heat and flames, and the sense of touch. That's 6. Yes, that's all of them. You quest a yellow and a blue gem to enchant the room. Indeed, with a clear intention in mind, I burned my own rolled-up mana as the base of the spell and mix it with a few concepts borrowed from avian and saurian. Wrote on Earth a containment for setting a clear boundary in space with an enchantment. Wrote an eternity with avian movement and saurian soul for altering the perception of time of living creatures inside the room. Also, I'm pretty sure I managed to silence us to the outside world with rodent sound containment, but I wasn't able to add a regenerative effect from the saurian. There's something weird about the stones here. It's amazing the time outside runs slower than here then, right? This is the most powerful spell I've ever seen. No, it doesn't run slower, but it seems to us it does. The spell isn't that powerful. Locks of weaknesses and limitations. For example, the magic is contained within this very small, fragile space. It will break the moment anyone opens a door. Also, even if I manage to add some extra regenerative effects from the saurian mana, I wouldn't be able to benefit from it myself. You could, if you wanted. I used the spell many times in the past to give my kids some extra hours of sleep when we were on the run. But I myself can't. Whoever holds shelter doesn't get the rest. It sounds like you can do anything you want by combining different manas. It does sound like that, huh? But no, you can't. It's not that easy to cast stable minor arts. This is a strict process. Proportions and even guiding keywords to construct something that doesn't instantly fall apart. You can learn magic spells through study, and that's how I picked up a couple of them. That's the usual process. You can think just massing a few concepts together will give you something that works, which once in a blue moon may actually happen. But most of the time, you are limited by the very unclear specifics of each mana's qualities. A concept that you think would make perfect sense for a particular effect most of the time isn't compatible with your intentions at all. You may try to force or bend them, but you would be just wasting mana or hurting yourself. That is, unless you burn them in the ember. The strongest magic. Well, I said they are like spells, but my magic mentor would strangle me for saying something like that. They are so much more than just spells. They are the ultimate manifestation of a person's will, the true utilization of the world-defining potential of a person's spirit, and so on. So they are spells, but stronger. Yes, but they are also a class of its own. They work different. While with the lesser arts of the caster has to stick to the strict rules and limitations of the magical components that Ember user makes the magic around them. Nay, the whole world bended them. With embers you burn mana so deeply and intensively you release concepts way beyond the limited list used by lesser arts. More esoteric, I think that's the word. The feline mana, for example, could be distilled into the sight of the sunrise when I escape captivity. Ungulate mana could be something like the feeling of holding my friend's hand. Embers are born as a culmination of the caster's key life experiences, a turning point on their journey. Because of that, they're usually unique to the user and can't be passed over easily, I don't think. Do you have one? Used to. What were the concepts you used in yours? That's personal, but for the rodent component, it was the moment I made peace with the land when I realized that the very thing I thought was my prison actually gave me strength. Wow. What does it do? It doesn't do anything more. I lost it. Oh yeah, I know. But how can you even lose a spell? Can't keep burning forever. Eventually, feelings fade, motivation turns to ash. Right now, I couldn't cast the ember even with all the little mana crystals in my pocket. Not if my heart isn't into it. What did it used to do then? Let me put it this way. If I could cast it now, we would be long out of the castle already. No walls could stop us. You would experience freedom You would experience freedom like you never knew possible. But at the same time, I guess we wouldn't stay free for long. The discharge of magic would alarm half the castle. We would have everyone on our tails. Right now, we're doing the best we can, the proper, quiet way. Let's not think about what else. I still don't understand if embers are born or something so important to a person. I can't believe they could really be lost. If something is precious to you, you will hold on to it forever, right? I sigh. Usually, I will agree with my children if they ask me a question like that, but you're not my kid, and I can't even be bothered to lie. The truth is, little wolf, everyone's beliefs change and decay over time. The older you get, the more of that innocent light you lose. You're no exception. Give it time, and the you sitting in front of me will die over time. Slowly. Just so a completely different wolf can take your place when you grow up. You won't even realize it when it happens, but well. That's not true. I will never change. Then you will suffer even more. Well, maybe I should change this a little, get cooler, wiser, and stronger. Like you. He scoffed with a chuckle. The observer doesn't want me to change. He wants me to stay weak. The quirks of canine pack hierarchy rules, I guess. I never understand you dogs. No, it's not that. The observer is not even canine. The leader of your clan isn't a canine. No, he's not. He's not a leader. He doesn't even care about us. He just wants to control me and everyone in the grove. What, then? You know what? No. Stop. Don't tell me. I don't care. I have been putting a lot of effort into staying as ignorant to your local politics as possible. I prefer to keep it that way. Why? I don't want to get roped in some new crazy coup intrigue or whatever. I've been down that road, kid. It never ends well. Is that why you lost your ember? Because you lost hope? Maybe I don't want to talk about it. Well, I didn't lose mine. I'm still fighting back. Doesn't seem like you're fighting. You're running away. Well, you don't understand. All the luxury, good food, soft beds, that's exactly what I'm fighting against. Or that's exactly what I'm fighting against. He's been controlling me with all of that. I'm fighting back by not letting him use me ever again. Yeah, I guess sometimes it is one and the same, isn't it? Fighting and running away. Sometimes the most cowardly thing a person can do is to keep waving a blade with no ounce of self-reflection. Sometimes the skillest and bravest thing is simply to reject compliance. Yes. In the same vein, I guess a carrot could be worse than a stick, and in the same vein, I guess the carrot can be worse than a stick and hands evil enough. Yeah, he sounds like one proper son of a bitch, the observer of yours, keeping you obedient through fake kindness. Yes, but I saw all through him, and I rejected him. I bit his hand, and that is a problem he now knows he has to deal with. Your disobedience is a solid rock on his path to control right now, but he will find a way to make you crumble. That's what I'm afraid of. He said he would speak to me after Moon's birthday, and that was the day. I'm afraid he's going to hurt. I don't know about that. He sounds like a calculating bastard. You, on the other hand, are already scared shitless of him. He doesn't need to be sudden or drastic or violent with you. No, the most cruel thing and manipulative shit like that can do is to be patient. Patient? Yes, those above us. The people in power, they don't feel the pain of uncertainty the same way we do. They use it as one of the many tools to steer us in their desired direction like cattle. That's because if you want to true, if you want to truly break someone you think unbreakable, you don't confront them directly. You corrode them with little things, slowly, unceasingly. Hit a rock with a fist as you hurt your hand. You leave it in a flowing river for a century or two, and it slowly turns to sand. Given enough time, everyone does. But if you hit a rock hard enough with something even harder, like, I don't know, another rock, then it can break too, much faster. It can, if you do that. One or the other may crumble, indeed. However, that's the most pointless and dangerous thing someone with an advantage can do. After all, you don't get just cracks and scratches when you hit two rocks together. You get sparks too. Sparks? You know it. Most sparks will flash for but an instant and be forgotten forever. Just one of the countless short-lived outbursts of pathetic lights. But let it land on something dry and solid, something that resonates, a purpose, a vision, a hope. And it will engulf everything in its flames. A blaze. A pretty fitting name when you think about it that way, huh? Well, at least that's how I like to interpret it. What is it exactly? Everyone speaks about a blaze in riddles, but it is a real thing, right? The crystals and all. The observer can see into the future, but he couldn't see it. But he couldn't see I would bite him. He said that was because of a blaze. Well, he can't see into the future, then he's a fraud. No, I don't think he is. I think he can really do that, but by reaching a blaze, you rejected his future. You chose your own. Yeah, that's because even if he could use some twits to glance into the visions of the things to come, a blaze is the one thing that defies fate. But what is it? Is it a spell? Even stronger than an ember? It's not a spell. It's a state, a pinnacle point. Embers are born through it. Listen, kid, I'm no scholar. A blaze, corruption, all that stuff is way beyond my pay grade. I can't tell you for sure about all of this stuff that even the smartest boys in all six realms can't completely wrap their heads around. But I used to know a guy, a bloody clever bastard he was, and so humble, one of those nomadic hooved folks. He talked about that stuff all the time. Most of it sounded like talk of a madman, but he was definitely no fool. The more I discovered about magic and the world at large, his words rang with me, and they actually made sense, kind of. So, let me tell you what he told me, and take it as you will. All of us, we're all connected to the world, okay? I do not mean it in some vague, metaphorical sense. Before we are born, our immortal souls flow through Mother Earth until we take root and grow a new body. The land decides what kind of species we end up as and what magic we will wield. From the day of our reemergence to the moment of our death and beyond, we are always connected to that whole living, breathing system, though our flesh and spirit born. That's why even the mere process of living is qualified as a level of mana use. It's a part of it. You, being a part of the world, is magic, he said. And you are a part of the world exactly because you produce magic through experiencing life. We are quite literally providing nutrients for the realm. But because the ability to experience comes from consciousness, those of us who exercise our individuality to cast spells can eventually learn to use more mana than it is being produced in a given instance. Racial abilities exhaust a person's mana reserves for the sake of survival. It's a good thing for the world when done only with the internal life force. But anyone with enough training in magic can absorb and burn mana from the environment too. That is something apparently not intended by the world's design. The lesser magic arts even further defile that system. The manas of different origins get taken apart and mashed together into unstable effects that consume great amounts of energy. Finally, the embers and ablaze are the complete expressions of that power of independence from the world. Our omnipresent and nigh omnipresent God. Look at this pyramid, he said to me. Each step takes us further up, further away from that intended stability with the world's order. We journey up so we can ultimately break free and claim that piece of divinity for ourselves. When we reach a blaze, no longer are we a mere drop of blood in the world's veins. Oh no. When we reach a blaze, where we manifest an ember at that very instant in that small slice of space. We are the ones who bleed the world. Whoa, yeah. Of course, that was just an interpretation. I don't know enough to even be sure how he came to all those conclusions. Sometimes with that kind of stuff, it seems that everyone has their own interpretation, and they all are equally sure of it. He was a clever guy, though. I grew to believe his words the more experience with magic I got. Damn, how I wish I could pick his brain again. Did he tell you what is the deal with the crystals? They always appear during a blaze, right? Is that what you mean by bleeding the world? Kind of, I guess. As far as I know, there are a side effect of crafting a new ember, which can happen only during a blaze. Such a process consumes immense amounts of concentrated mana, so your spirit attracts and absorbs it from the far depths of the world. It's not a clean process. Sometimes it happens in lands poor in mana reserves. Plus, embers always use multiple types of it, so it takes immense effort to collect those foreign types. What happens? By the strength of the caster's will, the world surrenders what's needed. And since the spirit has in its inherent nature, all that extra energy condenses into crystals of that exact type. So there you go. Everything I know about burning mana. Fun stuff, huh? Yeah, you know so much. It sounds like you've seen a lot of the world, met a lot of people. You're not an ordinary rat, are you? Yeah, I don't think anyone is ordinary, kid. I express my deepest gratitude to him for teaching me what he knew. He in turn mocked me that most of it probably went way over my head. Still, he was glad that, at the very least, he was able to finish my clothes while we talked. He wasn't wrong about me being confused. A lot of those concepts felt unclear or contradictory to me, and didn't have enough knowledge or experience to understand the implications of everything he had told me. However, I never forgot a single word he shared that night, and all of that stayed with me when I was eventually ready to practice my own mana wielding in the future. Over time, the more I learned and witnessed on my own, the more his words turned from just theory to premonitions. The world is quite a thing indeed. I want to know who his mentor was. So impatient. Done. Put them on. He grunted, pushing the fixed clothes towards me, and then threw the burnt butt of his cigarette roll up into the floor, letting the rodent holding seal swallow the evidence whole. He immediately took out a fresh one and lit it up. I put the reworked clothes on, amazed by how accurately he managed to fit them without a measurement tape. He nodded in approval. However, even that quickly ended with an annoyed grunt when I couldn't stand still on the cold rock floor. Why are you bouncing so much? You hurt? No, no, it's just the floor. It's so cold. Oh, don't be such a bloody wuss. I'm not being a wuss. Then stand still. You want to bloody dance out of the castle. Oh, oh bloody hell. Just gritting his incisors in frustration, he grabbed one of my feet midair to keep it still on the floor. However, the moment his fingers wrapped around it, he paused and blinked in confusion. He rubbed his fingertips against my lightest red pads, raising them to get a better view. How the hell are they so warm and soft? Oh, they moisturize them with that nice smelling cream every night and moisturize them? Bloody hell, they really pamper you like a king. Okay, guess you weren't kidding. You really can't run away like this. I told you. Got it. Fine, put your socks back on. He pulled them out of the floor and tossed them back at me. I immediately dropped on my butt and started putting them back on my feet. Then he also took my boots out, but he did it slowly. Light clung brightly to the edges, and the surface of my footwear came out tattered and dirty. The rat opened the top lid of the oil lamp, increased the flame, and started searing the leather surface, blackening it, and getting rid of the figure embellishments. The burnt smell invaded my nose, but I assumed he knew what he was doing, and maybe Zelda would keep all the stick in. I was just happy to have the soft socks back on my beans. You can still change your mind, you know. We'll be in big trouble if they catch us. I'm willing to take that risk. They will surely kill me. It's not going to happen, right? Why are you here anyway? What do you mean? You know why, for food. But why the castle? That's the worst place you could steal from. There's an abundance of stuff. There's abundance of good stuff here. Yes, and an abundance of the strongest guards. Certainly you purloin from the folk who don't have such security measures. Does purloin mean stealing? Huh. I like that word. Doesn't sound as bloody disgraceful as the alternative. You know, I kind of forgot you've been translating your lines from past to common all this time. You're good. I wonder how much context we're losing by not hearing your exact words. And yet you were so insistent on sharing every detail of my embarrassing moment for some reason. I don't understand you people. Do you want me to speak with my true words or not? Well, maybe next time. Next time. Yeah, for now, finish it like this. I want to make sure I understand everything. I'm not sure there's ever going to be another time. But sure, if we ever get another chance, I will indulge you in my superior vocabulary. But in the meantime, you didn't answer my question. Why risk your life infiltrating the castle where you can take from the streets, from the helpless folk? Yes, from the struggling ones, just like we struggle. Well, you don't need to go for the really poor ones, but there must be some options in between, right? Rich but poorly guarded merchants. No such thing anymore. Not after all the previous heists. They are all alarmed and guarded. Out of all of the terrible options, the castle was the best pick. I already know these corridors, and I could use today's celebrations to sneak in and out unnoticed. I was already my fourth trip when you interrupted me. Fourth, that's reckless. Do you have a death wish? Maybe. What? You're right. Deep down, maybe I hope to be caught. He sighed, staring down at the blackened boot, and the silence lingered between us. The scent of the burnt leather grew thicker, and he moved it away only once the black smoke started prickling at his eyes. He rubbed at the burned spot with his finger, thinking. It would be a fitting end for me here in this castle. This is where all of it went crashing down for us those 20 or so years ago. Feels like a completely different time. Feels like a completely different lifetime now. We were so drunk on those grand ideals. We thought we could make a difference, but no. The moment you challenge those in power, you lose. You never even realize you've always been playing by their rules all along. It's all weird, and I'm just so bloody tired of it. And yet, at the same time, I can't just not care. Those longings are like wounds that never heal, and I've been bleeding for so long. I don't know how to make it stop. He stared at the flame of the light as it slowly dimmed out, running out of oil. Dimmer and dimmer it went. And finally, it died completely. This world, truly, is hell. Sorry, kid. Didn't mean to dump my tragic life story on you. Let me finish the booze. We should go. You know, maybe that's okay. I mean, failing at the big things. Maybe in the end, they weren't as big or important as you thought they were. Or they were. You may think that only because you're obsessed with that one failure, but you don't realize that was one. But you don't realize that was only one of the countless ways you could have failed. The observer showed me a myriad of my own failures. People died, my country fell to ruin, in so many terrible, unique ways. Centuries of progress turned to ash because of me. He showed me all of that only for short instances, but I understood everything. The weight of my failures, it broke me to the core. And then he showed me his ideal future, one where everyone was happy and I was loved and celebrated by my people. But my best friend wasn't there. I believe he didn't even exist in that successful, carefully crafted future. I didn't want that in the moment I denied the observer but the more I denied the observer, I reached a blaze. That's not a perfect future for me if my friend isn't there. The observer wanted to do me, but in the end, he armed me with the exact weapon I needed for my rebellion. He gave me a perspective. The grand things don't matter as much as the grand things don't matter as much as what's close to me. However small something is, if it's important, it's worth saving. That's my truth. One day, when I grow up, I want to return and save everyone. I will do that. But first, I have to be free. I have to find out all those small things that are truly important to me. What I'm trying to say is, don't give up on yourself, Mr. Rat. You will bring tragedy to 33 more life stories if you're gone before they're ready. Oh boy, the little brat, you really have a way with words. Nah, they don't really need me. Half of them are teenagers already. They want their freedom. They don't want being bossed around anymore. But that doesn't mean that. I know. Thanks. Here, try them on. He tossed my boots at me. They were darkened, but their excess suit was mostly gone. The parts that shone before now were completely dark and matte. The rat stood up and stretched while I put on my footwear. It felt as warm and comfortable as I remember, but also a little bit weird on the soles. It was softer. I used my seal to puff up the bottom lightly into a wizard sponge so you'll step more quietly over the stone. They would get ruined pretty quickly because of that, so you have to get yourself new shoes after we escape the Crimson Royal Grove. I know someone who can make them cheap for you in Wackelheim. If you say I sent you, he'll help you stay low, fair to get on your feet. In more ways than one. Yep. So, can you tell me your name? Ha. Not before you set me free, cheeky pup. He took a deep breath of the cigarette smoke, and I saw some teeth flashing when he blew a big white cloud right in my face. I thought I wouldn't notice because of the smoke, but unfortunately for him, I wouldn't forget a single detail once seen. He definitely smiled. With a step on the floor, he made the lamp sink into the rock along with all of the ice we created during our stay. A moment before the flame went out, I saw his back was already clean. The luminous red string connecting us moved and pointed at the door. I followed it. Take a deep breath. Collect yourself. Blend with the shadows and become like the night itself. Just like milk turns into cheese. Sharp. You're bold. Isn't cheese sweet and creamy? Changes with age. Just like people. Wow. When I grow up, I want to ferment into sticky, sharp cheese, just like you. Heh, careful what you wish for, or it might just come true. I felt a hint of cheerful fondness in his mind as he said that. My bold, daring, manly attitude was apparently winning him over. I stood by his side as he put his hand over the door handle. The point of contact posed across wood and rock, as the enchantment of his shelter was just one pull away from breaking like a bubble.